Ladies and gentlemen, we're calling to order the regular meeting of the Jackson City Council, City of Jackson, Mississippi, January 28th, 2025 at 10:03 a.m. Today we have with us Pastor Jerry Mannery of We Are One United Methodist Church from Ward 6. He is going to lead us in our invocation, and then Mr. Foote has graciously agreed to lead us in the pledge immediately following. Would everyone please stand?
Grace to you and peace from God our Father and the Lord Jesus Christ. Indeed, it's a privilege to be here on today, and I thank you for this blessed privilege. I'm proud to call Jackson home. I was gainfully employed by Jackson, the city of Jackson, for 20 years, retiring in 1994 as a fire captain. And so it's so good to be before you on today. So let's do what you invited me to do. Amen. Lord, we thank you for this day that you made. And indeed, we have every reason to rejoice and to be glad in it. And we pray that as the day is, so our strength would be. Your word instructs us in all our ways to acknowledge you, and that when we do, you would direct our path. So in obedience and with confidence, we come to you today, acknowledging that you're God and that you're God alone. The heaven or earth can contain you. None can contend against you. None can compare to you, because you're God all by yourself. You're sovereign in all your ways. All good and perfect gifts come from you to make room for us, to make room for you. You're all powerful, all knowing, everywhere present, never changing. And we acknowledge that you are the source of our resources, and that every fountain of every blessing flows from you. We acknowledge that it's in you that we live, move, and have our being, and that by abiding in you, we can do all things. And apart from you, the only thing we could do is fail. We thank you for our city, the city of Jackson, the city with soul, a crossroads city. And yet we pray that you grant it to become known as a righteous city, a city of hope and peace that love our neighbors as ourselves. We thank you for the families, the houses of worship, the businesses, and the individuals that make up the great city we call Jackson. It's been said that heavy are the heads that wear the crown. So we come praying for these city heads that wear them, and that as you did for King Solomon, strengthen them with wisdom, knowledge, and understanding as they work in the best interest of the people they have elected to serve. For none can do so effectively without you. I pray that this body will embody a servant leadership approach, essentially acting as shepherds, watching over and nurturing their flock, to act with character, conviction, commitment, and goodwill, and to speak with restraint, tempered by respect and love. I pray that doing what you require in Micah 6:6 become the order and the business of the day, to do what's right, to love mercy, and to walk humbly with you. I pray, Lord, that they will work together to foster unity, knowing that where unity is, their strength can also be found. I pray that they will work together to foster agreement, for we know that two cannot walk together without it. Let them do this while developing, articulating, and implementing clear, innovative solutions that will be just like a tide coming into the harvest, where all of the floats will give rise. Lord, the city of soul needs a revival. And in the words of Dr. Martin Luther King, it cannot be legislated. So I remind your people, those who are called by your name, that you gave us a formula that if we will humble ourselves and pray and seek your face and turn from our wicked ways, then you will hear from heaven, forgive us our sin, and heal our land. Lord, I pray that you will order the steps of all of the items on today's agenda. And I know that if these deliberate steps are followed, success will also. and your people in the city of Jackson will be blessed, and you will be pleased, is my prayer in Jesus' name. Amen.
Please face the flag and join me in the pledge of allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, and thank you, Pastor Mannery, for that beautiful invocation to get us started on the right foot. Thank you. All right, colleagues, any introductions? Anyone have anything they'd like to say this morning? Mr. Hartley?
Yes, thank you, Madam President. I'd like to just take a moment out to reflect on a friend of mine and a servant of the city, Sidney Hill Gladney. Sidney Gladney, I first met him in 2008. He worked for code enforcement, supervisor there. I was the solid waste manager. He was code enforcement supervisor. We'd meet out on the streets and clean it up. Sidney passed away on January the 8th. He's also a member of the board, the planning board. And I just, again, background in engineering, knowledgeable of all the codes, knowledgeable of all the aspects of code services. Working with Joe Lewis, they went out after all the abandoned properties and stuff, and Sidney was a real hero. He was a real hero and real warrior for the city. And just wanted to just take a moment to acknowledge him and say my condolences again to the family.
Thank you, Mr. Hartley, for those kind words about Mr. Gladney. Anybody else have anything to say they'd like to? Mr. Banks?
Yeah, thank you, Madam President. I want to take the opportunity to open up this meeting in honor of my classmate, Sherelle Denise Campbell, who was laid to rest this past Saturday. Thank you.
Thank you. I'd like to open the meeting in honor of Mr. Wright's mother, and we're so sorry and offer our sincere condolences. If no other introductions, then we are going to get started with public hearing. We have 3 people on the list today. If you are on the list, let me ask you if you would please make your way to the podium over here, make sure it's turned on and the green light's working. State, please, when you arrive at the podium, state your name for the record. You have 3 minutes, and we ask that you respect the 3-minute limit. You will get a warning from our clerk and then a final call on time. So with us, welcome Mr. Stokes. Mr. Stokes, before we get into public comment, did you have any introductions? Okay, thank you. All right, first is Hattie Morrow, who is here to speak to us on potholes, bridges on highway, and a bridge on Highway 80. Ms. Morrow? Thank you. The lights, yeah, make sure thank you.
Okay, thank you. Good morning, everyone. As Ms. Lindsay said, I am here representing Birch Hill Baptist Church, at Shaw and Birch Street, off of Highway 80.
And I'm sorry, you do also have to state your name for the record.
I'm sorry. My name is Hattie Morrow.
Thank you.
And as I said, I'm representing Birch Hill Baptist Church, Highway 80 and Shaw. And Birch Street is the street that the church actually sits on. There are just numerous potholes when you turn off of Shaw and you're going to take a left turn onto Birch Street. And right there, there's just potholes, and they're just so deep. And they've been there for years. Now, I have been talking to several representatives from the city council. I understand, was informed this morning that the mayor is aware, so is Brian Grizzle, he's over our district. And so they are both aware of the issues and the problems. Now, I just found out this morning that there is a work order put in The problem is that they don't have any asphalt. So I'm here wanting to get a time frame as to when, because like I said, this is a church. We have people coming and visiting us, and just the members itself coming through those potholes is wear and tear on our tires, our front end, and it just, something just needs to be done, and we need some kind of time frame. I've been there for 16 years. And, they did come one time, they patched up portion, and then they left. So we're thinking, okay, they're going to come back and finish the rest. But even to get to where they did patch, they had to go through a maze of potholes just to patch that little part. And this was like over a year ago, going on 2. And nobody's been back since. So we just want some kind of time frame when we can expect, because it's like that, it's a small section, but it's like we're forgotten, and we just want a time frame.
Yes, ma'am, thank you. And I do want to stop, and clerk, we do have a full quorum. Mr. Griselle is online. Councilman Griselle. Dr. Omari?
Good morning, Ms. Morrow.
Good morning.
With regards to the time frame, that's something we'd have to get back with paved streets on, and our constituent person, services person, Mr. Chris Gray, is standing in the back. He will get your contact information so that we can get back to you with a time frame. And let me apologize for the inconvenience. I know this is my first time hearing about this problem at this intersection from the mayor's office. So, but we will follow up and get back to you and let you know what you can expect.
We definitely appreciate it. Thank you for your time.
And thank you, Ms. Mora, for coming before us today. Next up is Darian Phillips of 144 Woodasia Drive, Lane, and he's here to speak to us on police.
Good morning. I'd like to thank y'all for giving me a chance to come out and speak this morning.
And could you adjust the mic so we can hear you a little more clearly? Thank you.
Thank you for giving me a chance to come out to speak this morning. What I want to talk about is I had a situation with a noise issue, and when the officers came out, they came out on multiple times. They came out, they went out to the other gentleman, spoke with him, came to me, spoke with me, and this happened back and forth. So in the end analysis, what ended up happening is that they went down, basically told him there was nothing going on, that he was fine, came up here and gave me a blue card, and put me in a situation where I had to go take a blue card in order to deal with a noise situation when we have laws on the books that they can enforce. They didn't go and enforce the laws. They made me go use a card. Now I'm in a position where this problem has stopped, and I'm trying to stop it, and there's no efficiency in the court. You go down and you're being told to go find the person, bring him down, and him come down with you to sign some paperwork. You're putting me in a position where I have to be in contact with a person that I shouldn't be in contact with. Because what really should have happened is that an officer should have went down and told him exactly what the ordinance says and stopped it. Now, another thing that I say, I don't want to badmouth the police because I think we need the police. I don't want to defund the police. I think we need to fund the police. What I hear from the officers is that they're tired, they don't have the money they need, there's not enough of them to patrol, and they're coming from long distances to get to here to there. And what it's showing is there's an inefficiency in everything. It's just putting the citizen at a loss. Now, where I am now, I have to pay to stop this situation that was with that blue card. Now, I was a victim, and this is not the first time this happened with Jackson Police. It's because how they're being told to police the communities are putting us in a position where we're coming out of money, and in the end analysis, the citizens are losing. And what's happening is the people who are doing the crimes or doing things to the community are walking away scot-free. And we're taking the brunt of all of it. So what I'm asking is, instead of asking you what you guys can do, what can we do as a community to help you guys do what you need to? Who do we need to write? Who do we need to talk to help you guys do what you need to do? You need to shore up the police department, because the major reason why people are leaving Jackson has to do with the fact that crime is out of control. And we feel at a loss.
Thank you for coming before us today. Mr. Foote?
Thank you. Can you tell me where the location where you had the noise issue, either what street or address or what ward it's in?
To be completely honest with you, I don't want to put my address out in front of this, but I will speak to someone after we leave here. But I came down here to try to get something done, and there's also no cohesiveness with the city. Nobody knows, the left hand doesn't know what the right hand is doing, and that's a problem. When are we going to do something to change this? Because I've been here for 30 years, and I've tried to hang in here. But I'm at the point now, I want to be out of here. And I hate to feel like I need to leave somewhere that I really have fell in love with this place. So what are we going to do?
Well, we appreciate that, Mr. Phillips. Mr. Banks, and then I think we really need to turn this over to the administration, because I think these are questions they need to answer. Mr. Banks?
Yeah, thank you, Madam President. I just want to say, one, what you're going through, you shouldn't be. You're right, we have laws on the book. They're supposed to be enforced. I don't believe that from the command structure that officers are being told not to enforce laws. As many times as we have, I think for the past 5 years, given raises to officers over and over and over again to be more competitive. But I think that this needs to really come to the attention is the more citizens that you can get together to, get with those precinct captains, get with the police department and explain that problem. Because you have officers on the ground that sometimes might just be lazy and give you a bad excuse of why they can't do what they need to do. And that needs to stop. So hopefully, that can be addressed within the command structure of the police department.
Training.
Yeah.
Is important, and I don't see it. I will say this before I step down. I'm not going to badmouth somebody that's putting their life on the line. They put their life on the line every day out here, and it's serious in Jackson. I've been here long enough, and the way you stay alive in Jackson is keep your head down and stay out of people's business. And that's just the truth. So they got to put they got to get into everybody else's business. So let's protect them. Let's protect the citizens. Let's do something different.
Dr. Omari, did you have anything to add?
Yes, I did. First of all, I'd like to get your name again.
It's Darren Phillips.
And thank you, Mr. Phillips, for taking the courage to come down and speak your truth. And I'd like to suggest that you give Mr. Chris Gray your information, and we will get in touch with you to set up a meeting with who you need to really talk to. I don't know the blue card situation or any of that. Oh, okay.
And I'm pretty sure that the other people know exactly what I'm talking about.
Well, I see Marcus Johnson in the back, and you can talk to him, and he will put you in touch with who you need to be in touch with.
Thank you.
Thank you, and thank you for coming before us today. And the third person and final person today is Zach Servis. He's here to talk to us about the website, permits and garbage.
That's a good way to put signs. Okay, so Zach Service, Citizen Award 3. Real quickly, there's a business on East County Line called Sambu's African Kitchen. They currently don't have restrooms usable for their clients due to a plumbing issue that requires excavation. They're currently waiting for their plumber to get a permit so that they can do that excavation. So I just wanted to make y'all aware of that so you could look into it and perhaps make sure that that permit gets through to those customers can have somewhere to use the restroom. I think currently Moe's is providing them restrooms. So if y'all just keep an eye out for that for them. Two, the website still lacks the updated 2025 council meeting schedule. It also lacks the minutes and agendas for those meetings. Yet again, I had no clue what the agenda was today. And as a citizen, that's not okay, especially when the city government website's public comments page says, your voice is important and will be heard. But how can a citizen's voice be heard if we don't know what you're talking about? We should know that, right? So I would encourage you, and really I would demand that the city post this information on the social media pages. That would take all of 5 minutes. I know that the social media people are doing a good job. They're pretty active. They have good graphics. They're doing a good job putting information out. And with the issues in data migration on the website, I think that we owe it to the citizens to make sure that this information is still accessible. So I'm asking y'all to please put the agendas that are coming up on the website. Put the meeting schedule on the website. Put anything that should be publicly accessible on the website on social media. Make sure that people can get the information they need. And finally, regarding political signage, I spoke to y'all about this in November. It's been slightly altered. We're starting to see some signs come down, but our city code of ordinances in chapter 6 makes it clear that it is unlawful for a person to place, hire, or have placed a bulletin, placard, dodger, or other type of advertising material, which includes political posters, upon any tree, bush, shrubbery, utility pole, traffic sign, or street marker, or public properties and or street right-of-way. The penalty for this, any person violating these provisions in this section shall be guilty of a misdemeanor and be punished by a fine not to exceed $300 or imprisonment in jail not for more than 90 days or both. And it's an additional charge for each poster that's placed. And in chapter 102 of the city code, and the top part about exemptions, political signs provided such as they are not located less than 10 feet or of any public right-of-way and shall not exceed 12 square feet of the area. They are exempt from most of those signage rules, but they are not permitted in a public right-of-way, and the premise shall have no more than one sign per candidate. These signs shall be removed by political candidates within 15 days after the election in which the person's candidacy ends. If they're not removed, those signs are, or if they're in the right-of-way of any time, that candidate is given a 72-hour notice for such removal. All right. So, guys, please enforce those codes and ordinances and get political signs off of utility poles and trees and places they shouldn't be. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. I understand there's a Mr. Johnny Cavett here who signed up to speak, but apparently, I'm sorry, there are a lot of lists to sign, so I'm sorry if it was confusing. I am going to allow you to speak, Mr. Cavett, and introduce the person you have with you.
Don't you have the information?
You have 3 minutes, and please state your name for the record.
My name
All
is
right.
Johnny Cabot.
Sorry.
I'll wait till you finish this. It was related to the website.
Thank you.
Okay, but I'll wait.
Okay, go ahead, Mr. Cavett, I'll apologize.
Okay, my name is Johnny Cabot. This is Anthony Davis. And I'm here to talk about my house got burned on 3212 Pocahontas Avenue. And that I feel the city had failed me because I had notified the fire department, police department several times of this person that burnt one house before next to mine. And they came, they got him, they arrested him. He assaulted a police officer with a hammer and the fire department. And yet still, they released him less than a week. They did not put an arsonist charge, they just put that. And they did, yet still released him. And then he moved from that house to the house next to mine, a squatter. And yet, he kept setting fires in that house. I kept calling the police, the fire department. They kept coming, putting out the fire. The police said to me nothing they could do. And I'm like, why? That's against the law. Arsonist is against the law that I thought. And y'all can't do anything about this man keep setting fire inside a house, talking about he cooking or whatever they want. And furthermore, I noticed him as well as others that he was making what they call cocktail, pouring gas in a Corona bottle. And I told the officer that. And the officer said, well, nothing he could do about that. He said,
Might be finna drink the gas.
Wait, sir, wait your turn.
yeah, he said he might be ready to drink it. I told him, well, tell him to take a sip. I told the officer that, tell him to take a sip, and we'll see. But eventually, Saturday night, he set my house afire in the house next door to me. And I had put in warning for over several months to try to get him help or incarcerated for his actions. Now my house got burnt down. Now I'd like to know what this council is going to do adequately about the negligence of the city.
Okay, sir, did you want to speak as well? Would you state your name for the record?
My name is Anthony Davis. I'm the owner of D&D Paint Service. Johnny is a friend of mine. We had completed painting the inside of the house and everything. Like he said, when he called the officer, and we warned the officer and everything, so they didn't do nothing about that. I know the chief personally. I called him. He sent the sergeant out there. At this time, he was trying to get the truck out the driveway. The guy telling us he owned everything on the block. The officer sitting there playing like it's a game. So after all this was over with, he's trying to get the truck out the driveway. They stayed there. They had to actually stay there till the tow truck get his truck. After the tow truck get his truck, he told us, well, he belong to y'all now. Ain't nothing we can do. But you know, all that come down to hurting somebody and killing and all that. Now this man left with a place to stay. Now I'm left with no funds on the first part of my payment for painting it inside because we didn't make it to no outside. When all this could have been avoided, we just feel like the city dropped the ball. After all the police have been there, when I fire department and all that, I feel like if a man get arrested and go to jail for arson and assault on law enforcement, whereas the fireman, he wanted to be here this morning to speak also, but he had to work. If a man go to jail for arson and assault on law enforcement, city officials, and you get out in 7 days, the next 7 days, we calling you all down through. The next 7 days, now you got 2 more houses burned down. I feel like this man should have never been on the street to commit these crimes. We can't go around saying, oh, Mr. Davis, we're going to let him make it because he's crazy, he's homeless. Now I go and stay in this house. Now you got to go downtown and fill out paperwork and get eviction for this man to come out of your house that you ain't even give him the reason, you ain't even authorize him to be living in your house. Now when the 30 days come up, I know it's time for me to go. I'm going to move to the next vacant house. I mean, it's some kind of law, some just got to be did. Thank y'all.
Thank you. Mr. Stokes?
Thank you, Madam President. As these gentlemen come, this show you how people get killed in this city. And I want you to understand, I was out there watching 1, 2 o'clock in the morning. The fire department is professionally trained. They were there. They did their job. But this is not the first house this gentleman has burnt down. And in the poor neighborhood, they call it street justice. That means they're not going to allow him to keep burning down all these houses. Somebody's going to kill him. And that's why they come and ask him for help. When they tried to get him from burning the first house down, the fire department tried to get him to come out the house. He in the house. They had to throw something in the house to force him out, some kind of smoke thing. And when he came out, he had a hammer and a machete fighting the fireman. The thing they're saying is if he has a mental problem, the state or somebody need to do something. If he's not mentally where he should be, then the jail system need to do something, because you can't have people in your neighborhood burning down houses, raping women, and nothing happen. That's what the people are concerned about. Nothing has happened. They calling everybody they can call. They doing everything they can do, and nothing is happening. Now, he's arrested now, but they said he was arrested a couple of weeks ago, and they let him right back out. So sooner or later, something got to happen where he get help from the state or the sheriff's department, somebody must be hard on crime, because he's going to get killed. Now, they trying to warn him. They're going to kill him. They're not going to sit there and allow him to just keep destroying their houses and their quiet enjoyment. And it's a shame that that kind of fire, it's 2 houses burning at the same time, about 5 trucks, and the danger these firemen are going through. I know we have some on the agenda today I'm going to vote for, because to be a fireman ain't like it was a long time ago. Your life in danger almost every time you go to a situation, because you never know what's going on. But I asked them to come, and I hope somebody will talk to them and work with them, because they have lost everything. And I passed out their information. You can see they don't have a lot of money. They're struggling trying to pay taxes. They had just put a roof on, painted, and everything else. Now it's burned up. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Stokes. Mr. Hartley, and then we need to,
I understand.
Dr. Omari, do you have anything to add? Okay, all right.
Yeah, just one quick comment. I learned last night from a state representative that they will be introducing a bill, HB 1200. It's not going to bring alleviation to your problem, but it will, in fact, put severe penalties on someone coming into someone else's property. Right now, the HB, and I say this so perhaps we can monitor it and support it. I do think it need to be changed. They are making it a felony if you go in someone's house and burn it. I don't necessarily like the felony part, but they're moving in the right direction concerning cracking down. And I would just ask everyone to stay tuned to HB House Bill 1200 and monitor it and support it. And we'll be trying to work out the felony part, because again, when you become a felony, it takes away all kind of rights and stuff in the future. But maybe if someone's burned down 2 or 3 houses, then hey, yeah, now you're on that felony line. But just more to come. Thank you, Madam President.
Thank you, Mr. Hartley. All right, we're going to move on now to the agenda. Thank y'all for coming before us today, and we're so sorry that happened. Yes, sorry. Dr. Omari?
I did want to have Dr. Reed address where that information can be found on the website, so that people don't continue to think that that information is not being posted. The agendas, the minutes, they're all on the website, and she's going to give a couple of links so that people know where to go, because I just don't want that misinformation there.
Hi,
Okay.
Dr. Miriam Reed,
Yes, thank you.
Department of Information Technology. So we do have links for all of the information that was just mentioned here for the agenda packets and things like that. That link is www.jacksonms.gov/council-agendas-and-minutes. Also, if you email us, we'll be glad to send that information to you. So because of how the website is right now, this is temporary. We are sending links to where this information is until we can get the mapping done.
Okay, thank you. Mr. Banks?
Yeah, just for sake of clarity, with what has happened with the website and everything, One of the reasons for the changes is to make everything more easily accessible from the homepage, correct?
That's correct.
Okay, I just wanted to make sure that was stated for the record. All right.
Okay, thank you. Mr. Hartley?
Just get an understanding of this. If someone typed in www.jacksonms.gov, they'll reach the first page.
Correct.
And on that first page, what does the icon say to reach the agendas?
So you would actually have to click the search button and type
Search.
in council agenda. Yes.
Okay. And there's not just a button there on the page?
No, right now, no.
Okay, search. And maybe that's why folks are getting confused. They don't know to type in a search. Okay. Thank you.
Right.
Right.
Yes.
Thank you.
Is there a way for you to put a link or put information saying, note, this is where it is, instead of just letting it be out there unknown?
Well, we are looking at ways to make it more seamless until we get everything situated and set up properly. So, I mean, I can look at other ways to do that.
Dr. Reed, can you explain why why we have this problem right now?
Yes, so we moved from one platform to another. And the platform that we were on for about 8 or 9 years, they had our data, they controlled our data, they housed our data. So now, it took several months for us to get our data back and have it on our servers. The way that we received our data was not the way it should have been given to us. It was given to us in a manner where it would cause us to have these types of delays. So the platform that we left from did not want to give us back our data. And we finally have it back, and it was just not given to us in a proper professional manner.
Okay, thank you, Dr. Reed, and we're going to move on. I will tell you that I am getting a lot of complaints about the website.
Yeah, so am I.
So could you tell us a timeline on when this is all going to be straightened out?
Well, I don't really have a timeline, but I can tell you this, we are working night and day. It's a miracle that we have a website, period, because of how we received our information.
Okay, I'm confused by that, but okay, Mr. Banks?
I mean, so if the expertise, because in interpreting what I think you're saying, the way they gave it back, the coding was all off. Do we need to hire, outsource a professional coder to figure out everything to help us get everything done in a quicker manner?
Right, I'm looking into that right now.
How soon can you get something before us?
I'm trying to have something by the end of the week.
Great.
That would be great, Dr. Reed. Thank you so much for working so hard to get this done. We appreciate it. All right, colleagues, we're moving on to the agenda. We do not have anything on the consent agenda. I can tell you that we are pulling item 24. We've actually already voted on that item, so that means we have nothing related to consent agenda at all on this for today. We are moving now into introduction of ordinances. We will be having a special city council meeting February the 5th at 3 p.m. to consider these items for a vote. That is 6 working days. Is that right?
Councilwoman Lindsay, I just spoke to city attorney and municipal clerk in regards to these items, and I think we want to try to suspend the rules to vote on these items today, but I'll let him explain.
It's not a,
Let's get the item on the floor.
Yeah.
All right, item 2.
no,
we got to-
wait, hold on. Let me make one comment. Drew Martin, city attorney, it's not suspending the rules. It's part of the rules, and it's the expedited vote without objection. But we still need to put it on the floor.
Thank you.
And we have some amendments.
And there's an amendment before it's voted on. Amendment to the header.
Okay, y'all just
Are we
make
putting
sure
it
I
on
do
the
it.
floor first?
Just
Oh.
point of order. Based on the expedited, without objection law, basically you would read it, and then a council member can most say, I move that we expedite this item.
It's got to be on the floor first.
Yeah, I'm just going through the
Okay,
steps.
let me just,
Yeah.
we can get on the floor. Yes, ma'am. Thank you.
Ordinance amending decennial redistricting, ordinance approved by the Jackson City Council on August 12, 2024, by changing the polling place for precinct number 98 located within Madison County, Mississippi, District Number 2.
Okay, now, this is an introduction.
Madam
So, Mr. Banks?
Madam President, I move that we expedite this item for immediate passage.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to expedite this item.
Discussion.
Discussion, Mr. Stokes?
Madam President, I see how it's important. You got election less than, 90 days? And people don't even know where the precincts are. But at that meeting that I did attend in Rankin County, I told them then, I said, you don't have the precincts. They told me and everybody in that meeting that, well, now we doing it another way, and this is, people don't know where they running out of. They don't know where precincts are located and what wards. It's just unthinkable that you got an election this close and we still got citizens who want to run but don't know where to run. So many precincts are in other wards now. And, you know, that's the kind of situation that leads you into a federal court. And that's why it's so important that I guess what we're trying to do is get these changes in quick as we can so that people can say, well, I had more time to prepare.
That's right. Did you have anything to add to that, or is that why you're getting the map? We're moving on.
So this would address number 3, Councilman Stokes' concerns.
Okay, all right. Any other comments on? Okay, all in favor of expediting this item?
That's just a deal. Okay. That's-
All right, Mr. Griselle?
Aye.
It's,
I was saying,
Okay. Now,
all right, it is now,
now.
we now need to read it as on the floor for action? We just voted to expedite it. Don't we have to read it again?
She need to read it
Wait.
for adoption. She needs to read it.
She's got to read it again, and then
You
we'll
will
consider
move and
the
second,
amendment,
and
Mr.
then we
Banks.
do the amendments.
All right.
Right now. I do, but you got to get it on the floor first.
We got to read it get it on the floor first and then do the amendment. Go ahead.
Ordinance amending Decennial Redistricting Ordinance approved by the Jackson City Council on August 12, 2024, by changing the polling place for precinct number 98 located within Madison County, Mississippi, District Number 2.
So moved.
Second, we have a motion and a second. Now the proposed amendment.
Yes, so the proposed amendment is to change the header as ordinance changing the polling place of precinct 98 located at Tougaloo College to precinct 80 located at Tougaloo Community Center.
So we're just removing the word number.
No, so what we're doing, we had a precinct 98 that was located at Tougaloo College. If you look in your package, I included the very, very low voter turnout that we have with that. So we're just merging those 12 voters over to precinct 80, which is Tougaloo Community Center.
I understood that, but what you, when you read the proposed amendment, you just left out the words number.
Council President Drew Martin, City Attorney, the amendment actually would delete the phrase starting with the word amending through the word by.
Okay, point of clarity, Shanikia Jordan. There's no need to amend this item, and the packet is correct.
Very good.
Yeah, that's all I was saying.
Only on the agenda was the incorrect version.
Okay.
Okay, so
The
we don't need to have this amendment on the floor.
No, and the
I
packet is
would-
what will be in the minutes.
I withdraw my second.
Oh. Well, no, we never did a motion in the second for that amendment, so no need to withdraw.
Madam President?
We
just-
did.
Madam President?
Yes.
Just point of clarity. I believe the confusion is the item that you read is the incorrect, if you could read the one that we actually have in the agenda packet.
Okay, yeah. Because it's just the one that's on the agenda that's incorrect.
Yeah.
Okay, so Mr. Banks made a motion to get the amendment considered, and I made a second, right?
Just the adoption, not the amendment.
Oh, okay, all right, thank you. We need a roadmap up here today. All right, okay, so now the item is on the floor, right? All right, any questions or comments about the item for consideration today? All right, hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
All right, it passes unanimously. Thank you very much. Now, we will go through the same exercise on number 3, correct?
Hopefully not the same way.
Correct? Ms. Jordan, we're doing the same thing on item 3.
That's correct.
All right, will you please get it on the floor?
Ordinance amending decennial redistricting ordinance approved by the Jackson City Council on August 12, 2024, by changing the polling places for the city of Jackson to align with the new ward lines located within Hinds County, Mississippi District.
So moved.
Madam President,
Right, no, this is just an introduction at this point. Mr. Banks,
Madam President, I move that we expedite this item for immediate adoption.
Second.
we have a motion and a second to expedite this item. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Okay, thank you. The item is now on the floor. We need to read it again to get it back on the floor for adoption.
Ordinance amending decennial redistricting ordinance approved by the Jackson City Council on August 12, 2024, by changing the polling places for the city of Jackson to align with the new ward lines located within Hinds County, Mississippi District.
So moved.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. The item is now on the floor for consideration. Any questions or comments?
Yes,
Yes, ma'am?
I have a couple of amendments.
Okay.
All right.
On this one, they're real amendments.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
So,
All right, please
So,
tell us what they are.
In the header, it should read, ordinance of the City of Jackson, Mississippi, establishing the polling places for the City of Jackson to align with the new ward lines located within Hinds County, Mississippi. That's one, the header.
So what did you take out?
Do you want to just read them all?
Yes,
one
so
time?
we took out amending the decennial redistricting ordinance by the Jackson City Council on August the 12th, 2024.
Okay.
Okay. So moved.
Second.
Do y'all want to do them all at one time?
That's what,
let's do it. All
I
right,
withdraw
and
my.
then-
So that's
And I
the
withdraw
first
my
one.
second.
All right,
That's the first one.
Continue on.
And then the second one, if you look in the 1, 2, 3, 4, the fifth whereas to insert Ward 4, 94A and 94B to just 94. Because what happened is before 94A and 94B was a split precinct, one was Ward 4 and the other one was Ward 6. So now Ward 6 is 94B, and so those voters will be moving to precinct 100, and so there is no need to have a 94A. That precinct would just be called 94.
Okay.
And Councilman Stokes, yes, so to address your concerns about CMPDD, it was not their place.
Wait, just a minute.
Okay,
Let's get the
go on and do
amendment
that.
dealt with
Okay.
first. Mr. Banks?
Yeah, so just for clarity, because I see already, we have 94B becomes precinct 100, which is basically writing that ship with adding additional precinct. And then also, we're getting rid of the split precinct of 76A and B, and it just becomes 76.
Yes, all of Ward 6.
All right,
Because
and then-
before it was split between 6 and 7.
And then 93A and B is all now one precinct in
Yes,
Ward 6.
Ward 6, that is
All right.
All right,
correct.
Mr. Banks, we still have this hanging out at these amendments as suggested.
No, I just getting
okay, so-
clarity
so-
before the vote,
okay.
yeah.
All right, are you making a motion?
No.
And one
Well, somebody
other
needs
place,
to-
in one other place, insert that same about Ward 4 down in section 1, right under Ward 3. The
Hold on.
same thing to change precinct 94A and B to just 94. It's in two places.
Okay, so moved, Madam President.
Thank you, Mr. Banks. All right, so now we have
All right,
the
thank you.
proposed amendments as stated up for consideration. Any questions or comments?
Just
Yes,
one.
Mr. Hartley.
Yes, just one. Councilman Foote, you passed out the maps. Have they been vetted by our folks?
They have the old precincts on them, Mr. Hartley.
Okay, so this.
Those maps he gave us will need to be changed
Okay.
because they do not have the.
Understood.
The precincts will change as of today.
They have the new,
Lines, ward
they have
lines.
the new lines for the wards.
That- right.
To the extent that
But
We
it
need
don't
to
have that
figure out
many
how to get
precincts.
that information to CMPDD so they can put it on the maps.
Thank you,
Okay.
Mr.
I'm sorry.
Thank
This is
you.
what they
This
produced
is
from
the new
last
ward.
It was just the lines, Mr. Hartley.
Okay, just one quick follow-up. On that map, that's produced by our GIS section?
Yes.
Okay, so they have a copy of it, so if we were to request a copy of that map with updated polling locations from GIS to give to our constituents, they would have it?
Yes.
Very good then, thank you.
Great question, Mr. Hartley. Thank you. All right.
Question.
Yes, sir, Mr. Stokes.
Thank you so much. I want to thank Councilman Foote for providing this map. 12 and 13.
Now, these are not what we're working on today. You
Yeah.
understand? Okay.
12 and 13. Voted,
There's no change. There's no change to those precincts.
yeah,
They're still in Ward 3.
to 13 is not in Ward 3. 13 was in Ward 7.
So as a part of the redistricting, it is now Ward 3.
That's what I'm saying.
Yes, sir.
12 and 13 is one, they voted at different locations.
What's the precinct name, do you know?
Yeah, Bonner was 12.
Yeah,
And
Bonner Institution is 12, and Walton Elementary is 13.
13.
Those are
Well,
now
13
Ward 3 precincts.
13, well, 12 was always Ward 3.
Mhm.
13 was Ward 7.
Mhm.
13 was what, well, she started talking, but she don't know what she's talking about. It moved from 7 to 3. Now, but in the other elections, it's always been, they voted at Walton.
This is the other side of Wood Street.
Do you understand what I'm saying?
I do understand what you're saying,
Now,
Councilman.
since 13 has come into Ward 3, everything in Bernadette should vote at Walton. So that means 12 shouldn't be a precinct any longer.
So what we can do, so you're saying you want us to merge 12 and 13 together? We can do that. And so what, yeah, so this is the new, so what we did was we took the ward lines, and the way the ward lines fell, the precincts, say, we made some changes. So if you look at precinct number 4, that was on Pleasant Avenue, that Truvine Church, it splits now that it's Ward 3. So those Ward 7 voters that voted there, they're being merged over to precinct number 6 at the request of their election commissioner. And so those voters that was voting at Truvine, all of them are going to be moving to number 10, Galloway School, which you have inherited in Ward 3 is no longer Ward 7 precinct. So all of these voters are going to be notified of their changes.
10 has always voted at Galloway.
But it was a Ward 7 precinct. It was not a Ward 3 precinct. Now all of those voters now are in Ward 3.
We know that, but we do not cross that railroad track.
I know, Councilman Stokes, is what I'm saying is those voters, this is the railroad track right here. This is Pleasant Avenue. All of these people is Ward 3. So they're not going to be, all of these people are Ward 3 now. And so this other side is Ward 7. Those voters that before the ward line got moved, those voters were voting at, this was a precinct number 4. Those voters that was in Ward 7, they're now going to be voting at 6. And the other side of the track, those are now Ward 3. All of those voters are going to be voting at, we are eliminating precinct number 4. It's no more 4, because it was only maybe about 4 or 5 streets. We're moving all of those people over to Galloway.
But that's what we're saying. They've always voted at Galloway.
But they were Ward 7, Councilman Stokes. They're in Ward 6 now. They're in Ward 3 now. They're no longer in Ward, I'm sorry, they're no longer in Ward 7. They're all your people now.
But they still vote at Galloway.
They still gonna be voting there, but what the addition is, we got a small, based upon the way the lines were drawn, there's a few streets that was over by Pleasant Avenue. those group of people would be, they're going to be notified that they now would be voting at number 10. We no longer have a precinct 4 anymore. True Vine Baptist Church.
Mr. Banks?
Yeah, Madam President, for the sake of Councilman Stokes having read this, maybe a suggestion would be that we go ahead and pass this, and based on his concerns, if you could give him a detailed basic explanation of the population in each precinct. Maybe the population might be small enough to merge them all and make them one ward, and you can look at that, or, if not, so that he can know, what the population is in each ward.
All right, so y'all, this is probably why we needed to have a special meeting, because this is complex, and I do want to make sure all the council members get their questions answered. So, Mr. Hartley?
Yes, Madam President, in lieu of what you just said, look, I think we need a better understanding of the process and have all your election commissioners chimed in on where these need to be.
She's right there.
Okay, and if not, can
McCall.
perhaps, what I just want to know is, have we circled the wagons? Have we made this thing tight? Have we done all our coordination, and this is the final map we're looking at?
Yes, sir, because these are the ward lines. The ward lines that you all adopted did not change. So what we did was, as a result of the way that you drew the lines, we had split precincts.
Okay.
We had 2 wards voting at the same precinct. And I got a consensus from the council. They did not want that to happen. So that's why we worked day and night to try to get this done. The voters got to be notified. Everything has to be changed in Sims before absentee voting starts, which is by law February the 18th. So.
Okay, you had me at yes.
Yeah,
Okay.
I had you at yes. I can sit down and, okay.
That's okay. Thank you. I appreciate
All right,
it.
This is a result of how the lines are drawn.
Colleagues, okay, I want to talk to the colleagues here for a minute. All right, are y'all all comfortable with moving forward with the vote on this today? Because we are under a tight deadline. As she just said, absentee ballots have got to go out February 18th. Mr. Foote.
Okay, so I want to make sure I understand the process we've gone through. So we voted on and approved the new boundaries for the wards, and then it gets turned over to the election commissioners to determine the precinct lines?
The municipal clerk and the elections commissioners work together.
Municipal clerk and the election commissioners come up with the precinct lines. So I was not aware of new precinct lines. I had called the Central Mississippi Planning and Development, asked them to print off these maps, but I guess they didn't have access to the new precinct lines either.
Well, we have to approve them first.
We have to approve first.
Basically.
Okay, well, so this is what we're trying to approve is the new precinct lines. So I'd like to be able to see them, to approve them. I mean, we're asking us to do this, condensed version of both approve the, or announce the ordinance and then approve it, 10 minutes later, but we haven't even seen the precinct lines. I think we ought to do the final approval at the special meeting we're going to have later this week.
Well, it's not going to be until, we have to wait 6 days unless we,
Okay, so whenever it is, 6 days from now.
unless we could call a meeting tomorrow and suspend the rules and go through this exercise all over again, but it would give everybody more time.
Yes, President, I do understand that, so I just want to state that these are not new lines. Not everything has changed. The only thing that we were doing was taking away the splits. Because, I'll give you an example. You look here, Precinct 45, when Ward 2 moved over, crossed over I-55, those voters were going to be, along with Ward 2 and Ward 1 voters would have been voting at St. Philip's Episcopal Church. And so what we did was to keep that that was a Ward 1 precinct. We took those voters and moved them over to Precinct 43. So they're not really new lines. What we did, we took away the splits, Councilman Foote. We took away the splits, and so I'd be happy. And so the only reason that we asked that this be taken up for adoption because of all the back-end work that has to go into this. We have to get all this information over to the circuit clerk's office. He has to go in and make all of those changes street by street into the SAM system. Send me the labels, then me and my staff, we have to get the letters and mail them out. And in those letters, we have to identify to them where their polling places will be. And all of this has to be done and taken place before absentee voting takes place on February the 18th. That is the only reason. So I just wanted you to know that these are not new polling places. We just took away the splits based upon the way the lines were drawn. There, so two.
This is going to be new for some people.
Yeah, it will be. It'll be new for the people that's been, redrawn into these new lines. Originally, they have already received letters that they were now in Ward XYZ, but now since we went back in and to align the polling places to align with the new ward lines, because typically it's done at the same time. When we did the redistricting, when the city did the redistricting back in 2012, they did the ward lines and the precincts at the same time. So this is trying to rectify that. But if you all have uneasiness about it, we can go on. It's just gonna delay things.
I'm getting enough messaging that I think we're going to go ahead and vote on it today. Mr. Banks?
Yeah, Madam
But we
President.
still have this, we haven't voted on, don't forget, we haven't voted on the amendment yet. Mr. Banks?
Yeah, Madam President, I just want to say, if the Election Commissioner McCall, I think she represents Ward 3, if she can explain to bring,
He's fine.
oh, he's fine?
He's
Okay.
fine.
Okay.
We're going to
Well,
go
that's
ahead
fine.
and take this to a vote, and we're going to see where we land. But I think I'm getting a read that most everybody's ready to vote.
Let's go.
All right.
The amendment.
So if we still have to call a special meeting, we will, but I think we're good. All righty. I still need a vote on the proposed amendments. We
So
haven't-
moved.
Well, we've already approved it. We just need to vote. All right. All in favor of the amendments as stated about 15 minutes ago? All right?
Aye.
Okay, opposed? Okay, all right. Now, the item is before us as amended. Any other questions or comments? Hearing none. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? All right, both carried with a vote of 6-1. Thank you. Thank you all, colleagues, and thank you very much, Ms. Harris and Mr. Martin, for your work on getting this to us so quickly. All right, now, we are moving now to adoption of ordinance. Item 4, would the clerk please get it on the floor?
Ordinance amending the City of Jackson classification and compensation plan to add the job classification of educational program coordinator.
So move.
Second. We have a motion and a second on this item. It was introduced at the last city council meeting, and now it is before us for a vote. Any questions or comments? It's about the planetarium. Any questions or comments? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
How'd you vote, Mr. Foote?
In favor.
Okay, it's a vote of 7-0. Thank you. Item 5.
Ordinance amending the compensation for municipal election commissioners, poll managers, resolution board, and box helpers.
So move.
Second.
All right, we have a motion and a second on this item. We also had it on the agenda at the last meeting. We did discuss it in that work session, I believe. Yes, we did. Any other questions or comments regarding this item? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
How'd you vote, Mr. Banks? Okay, it's a vote of 7-0. All right, now we are moving to item 6, which is claims.
Order approving claims appearing at pages 191 to inclusive thereon on municipal docket of claims in the amount of $1,654,653.04 for and making appropriation for the payment thereof.
Move.
Second, we have a motion and a second on claims. Mr. Malumbeka, would you please go over larger claims for us?
Good morning,
Good
Fidelis
morning.
Malumbeka, CFO. The following are the four largest claims on this docket. They are as follows. First is Metro Jackson Convention and Visitors Bureau in the amount of $284,061.07, paid out of Fund 203, Jackson Convention Appropriations. This is for the Visitors Bureau Transfer of Taxes, January 2025. Second is the Evans Agency in the amount of $220,604, paid out of Fund 1, General Fund. This is for the Workers' Compensation December premiums. Third is Bancorp South in the amount of $197,596, paid out of Fund 268, 2019 TIF bond Landmark. This is for the debt service for the Landmark TIF for 3/1 and 9/1/25. And the fourth is Waste Management of Mississippi in the amount of $163,059.48, paid out of Fund 9, Sanitation Landfill. This is for tipping services. Yeah, this is for tipping services. And that concludes the report for the four largest claims.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Malumbeka. Any questions or comments, colleagues?
Question.
Yes, sir, Mr. Stokes.
Thank you, Doctor. I received calls during Dr. King holidays that Richards had to pick up garbage, and I thought we had it understood that sanitation would be a holiday in honor of Dr. King.
Ms. Lakeisha Weathers is sitting on the outside. You should be best situated to answer that.
While she's coming, a lady spoke and said someone told her that asphalt, we didn't have asphalt. I thought we have approved, I know months ago, asphalt so
The term
that,
bid, yeah.
so that we would have a surplus of asphalt. So did she misspeak or did somebody give her wrong information? Do we have asphalt?
Mr. Wright, I'm not sure if Mr. Wright can answer this.
Yeah, Louis Wright, CAO. We do have asphalt.
I thought so.
There was a period of time when we were working on the bid contract with the asphalt companies, but we do, and we have a supply of asphalt. So there's no shortage or lack of asphalt.
All right, I thought we did because we normally pre-approved.
Right.
All right, thank you.
All right, thank you.
Ms.
We're
Wells,
waiting on an answer for one of your questions, right?
yeah, the people called concerning Richards having to pick up garbage on Dr. King holiday. And it was my understanding, and I told them that ever since Waste Management, they'd be off on Dr. King holiday.
Lakeisha Weathers, Solid Waste Public Works. The city is off for that holiday. However, the company made the decision to operate on MLK Day.
Okay, the company made that decision
Yes, sir.
because the city is off.
The city is off, yes, sir.
Okay.
That is a city holiday.
Thank you, thank you.
All right, thank you. Mr. Hartley?
Yes, Ms. Weathers, doesn't the ordinance reflect that there will not be a garbage collected on that particular day?
I don't think the ordinance reflects that, Councilman. I'll check, but.
And also, maybe you can check the specifications of the contract, because there were certain dates that were in there, 4th of July, Christmas. I think Dr. King's holiday was also that. So I'm just wondering, are we going to follow the contract and what it says, or the ordinance and what it says, or are we going to just kind of skip along and do what we say?
Yes, sir.
Thank you. Please check into that.
Well, I do want to add that they did not pick up my garbage the next day because of the severe weather and the threat of severe weather. So maybe they were anticipating the weather. But I didn't get my garbage picked up on Tuesday, so. All right, thank you. All right, any other questions or comments on claims? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carries with a vote of 4-3. All right, 7, payroll.
Order approving gross payroll included payroll deduction claims number 31197 and making appropriation for the payment thereof.
So moved.
Second.
All right, we have a motion and a second on payroll. Any questions or comments?
Question,
Yes, sir,
Madam
Mr.
President.
Stokes.
We have several items on the agenda dealing with raises and things of that nature. As my understanding is budgeted. Will it be in the next paycheck? And I know that's one thing some of these employees ask, when will I see it in my paycheck?
So Councilman Stokes, so the raises were actually approved when we were going through the budget process. And so the employees have received the raises. I think most of the agenda items you see today are to correct the compensation plan, right? The compensation plan had not been updated, and so it needs to be updated to reflect the raises the employees received.
Okay. They've already receiving the money. We just gonna make sure we get everything in line.
Correct.
Okay, so now they're not gonna come and say, Ken, I supposed to get some more money, I ain't got it. Okay, all right, everybody on the same page. All right, thank you.
I think those are important communications,
Yeah.
Mr. Stokes. All right, any other questions or comments on payroll? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
All right, carries with a vote of 7-0. Item 8.
Order authorizing the Department of Administration to pay professional association dues and travel-related expenses for various organizations as it is reasonable and necessary to the performance of the members of the City Council, the mayor, and the city employees' duties for 2025.
So moved.
Second.
We have a motion and a second on this item. Any questions or comments? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
All right, carries with a vote of 7-0. Item 9.
Order revising the Department of Administration Municipal Court Division fiscal year 2025 fiscal year budget.
So moved.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any questions or comments? I think we did discuss this in work session yesterday. Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
All right, it carries 7-0. Item 10.
Order authorizing the mayor to execute an agreement with Staffers, Inc. to provide temporary staffing services to various city departments.
So moved.
Second.
We have a motion and a second on this item, also discussed at length in work session. Any additional
question.
questions or comments, Mr. Stokes?
Thank you. How many staffers are we using?
Currently now, we don't have any because the contract has expired. So are you talking about temporary employees
Yeah,
or the company, staffing agency?
When we use this company, how many did we have before the contract expired?
3. We had 3 of them. And
Have we
currently-
considered filling those positions, or is it easier not to, we want to fill them?
No, well, we do, but a lot of times, the reason why people, departments may seek a need for temporary staffing is because it's one of those positions where they just need to catch up on some things.
That's right.
And it's
Thank
not a
you.
need for a full-time position.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you. Any other questions or comments, Mr. Hartley?
Yes, Ms. Martin.
Toya Martin, HR Director, I'm sorry.
Okay.
Oh,
Yes, Ms.
right.
Martin. Yesterday during planning, you mentioned that the city has 1,300 employees. How aggressively are we trying to up those numbers? Do you know how many vacancies we actually have? I know that a lot of this is on the website, but it just seems as though 1,300 employees is a low number for the city.
Well, go ahead, I'm sorry.
No, go ahead.
So, a lot of our vacancies has decreased because what we did this past budget year, a lot of departments used their vacancies to give salary increases. So that number is pretty, it's not, of course, as high as it's been throughout the years, but again, a lot of those vacancies have been, combined to give salary increases. So to tell you in terms of how many vacancies we have, I don't have that number off the top of my head, but I can definitely get it to you by the end of the day.
Thank you so much. I appreciate it.
You're welcome.
All right, any other questions? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
All right, it carries with a vote of 7-0. Item 11.
Order amending the City of Jackson Compensation Plan pay range for the positions of Code Enforcement Officer, Code Enforcement Supervisor, Electrical Inspector, Mechanical Inspector, Research Technician, Senior Building Inspector, Senior Electrical Inspector, and Senior Mechanical Inspector based upon salary increases implemented in the budget adopted for fiscal year 2024-2025.
So moved.
Second.
We have a motion and a second on this item. Colleagues, any questions or comments? Mr. Foote?
Yes, ma'am. I had a question yesterday in the work session about, I know we had a big increase in the number of code enforcement officers we were trying to hire, and I was just wanting to get an update on where we stood on that and how many of code enforcement officers we have ready to go out in the field right now.
Toya Martin, HR Director. I did speak with the, Mr. Keaton, the Director of Planning, and we currently have 15 code enforcement officers. We have 4 in rental registration, 8 in community improvement, 2 in business licenses, and 1 in zoning. So that gives you a total of 15. There are 3 vacancies. We are currently conducting interviews, and with that salary increase that we boosted those code enforcement officers with, we really believe that that will help with our recruitment efforts. So we just have 3 of them right now. And we
Okay.
are currently in the interview process with those.
Thank you.
Okay. Yeah, okay, Mr. Hartley and then Mr. Stokes.
Yes, on the code enforcement officers, okay, this is our baby. We're trying to get blight under control, and they're the key. So we have 8 folks, warm bodies out there
In community improvement,
in community improvement, and we're looking to get how many more in community improvement?
3. Those 3 vacancies are, one of them is community improvement? Okay, so what are the other ones, Jai? You wanna-
That's okay, that's okay. I think he answered my question.
Okay, so one. of
One,
those
so we'll
vacancies.
have a total of 9
Of 9.
officers in community improvement.
Yes.
Well, I can ask code enforcement later, but my question would be, and perhaps he can get an answer back to me, is there a possibility of cross-training and utilizing other code enforcement if we have a total of 15?
I think they're already doing that, yes.
Okay.
Yeah,
Real good then. Thank you.
you're welcome.
Madam President.
Okay, Mr. Stokes?
Thank you. In terms of pay, will we now be higher than the region or lower than the region?
No, in terms of pay, we're like, it's compatible to the other cities. That $40,000 is compatible to the other cities.
Okay, are we saying region, or are we just talking about local
No,
market?
the southeastern cities that, yes, region, yes.
In the region, okay.
Yes,
All
I'm
right.
sorry, yes.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you. Any other questions or comments? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
All right, it carries unanimously. Item 12.
Order amending the City of Jackson's composition plans pay range for the positions of Assistant Police Chief and Park Ranger based upon salary increases implemented in the budget adopted for the fiscal year 2024-2025.
So move. Second.
We have a motion and a second. Colleagues, any questions or comments? Hearing none.
Madam President,
Oh, yes, sir. Mr. Grizel.
thank you. So because of, possible complaints about nepotism or to prevent entering any ethical dilemmas with the fact that my brother is an assistant police chief, I'm going to recuse myself for those reasons. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Grizel. All right, so Mr. Grizel is recusing himself from this vote. All right, any other questions or comments regarding this item? Item 12. Hearing none, all in favor? Carries with a vote of 6. All right, item 13.
Order amending the City of Jackson's pay plan to change the range of District Fire Chief from range 91 to 34, Fire Captain from range 89 to 31, Fire Lieutenant from range 88 to 30, Fire Relief Driver Operator from range 87 to 28, and Firefighter 2 from range 86 to range 28.
So move.
Second.
All right, we have a motion and a second. Any questions or comments?
Question.
Yes, sir, Mr. Stokes?
Thank you. It seems like it's a decrease when you're saying 91 to 34, 89 to 31. You just basically playing with numbers. It's
So, yes, HR Director Toya Martin. So in the order I have in there as well, we have some of the pay ranges related to the police and the fire department initially started out in the 80s and the 90s, those numbers. So what I'm doing is I'm asking you all to delete those pay ranges out of the pay plan because we no longer have a need for them, and put them on the actual pay range that's compatible to what they're currently making.
Okay.
So, yes, it looks like it's going down, but it's actually not. I want you all to just, I'm requesting to remove those out the pay plan because we don't have a need anymore for the 80s and the 90 pay ranges, because those were specific to police and fire department. And what I'm doing is actually putting them on a range to accommodate the salaries that they're currently making.
Okay, have you met with the firefighters, explain this to them? What's going on?
I have not met with the firefighters, but I have met with the fire administration.
So everybody on the same page?
Yes, they
They're not
understand.
gonna feel like they could not pay.
Right. Well, yeah, I haven't met, to answer your question, I haven't met with the fire department, but I have met with the fire administration and the police administration to let them know what we were doing.
All right.
But we're not decreasing anybody's salaries. We're not
got a
doing it.
memo
We're
going
actually
out to
increasing it. I'm
You
sorry?
got a memo going out to them saying that.
Yes, I will.
All right, thank you.
Yes.
I just
Councilwoman
wanted
Clay.
to reiterate what Councilman Banks, not Banks, Stokes said. They need to be made aware because it looks like it's a decrease.
Gotcha.
Whether it's a decrease or not, you want to let them know what's going
Okay,
on.
I will. I'll send them a memo. Absolutely.
All right, thank you. All right, any other questions or comments on this item? Hearing none, all in favor?
13.
No, it's not the one you reduced. Where it's about fire department.
Fire department.
Okay. How did you go? It's 13. Excuse us. Yes, sir, I understand. Okay, so it's unanimous.
Madam President,
Thank you.
who's training our firefighters? And I know we have our own place. The reason I ask,
Well, there's not an item on the floor, Mr. Stokes. Can we find a place to ask that question?
yeah, I think, do they come back up today? I just want to tell them, thank you, good job. That's all I want.
I think I will allow that. Mr.
Yes,
Stokes.
I just want, I was out there middle of the night, ladies, strong, everybody, putting the hose, they train, they are really, really trained. So nobody said anything about when they train well, but good job, thank you.
Thank you,
Madam
Mr.
President.
Stokes. All righty.
President?
Wait, there's nothing on the floor.
Okay.
We've got to.
It's just this,
We will be
same
here
thing,
all
thank you.
All right, item 14.
Order amending the City of Jackson's compensation plans pay range for the position of crew leader, bridges and drainage superintendent, signal supervisor, sign installation supervisor, shop supervisor, marking supervisor, grounds maintenance supervisor, bridges and drainage supervisor, street maintenance supervisor, solid waste supervisor, landfill supervisor, and heavy equipment operator based upon salary increases implemented in the budget adopted for fiscal year 2024-2025.
So moved.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Thank you, colleagues. Any other question or comment? Mr. Foote?
Thank you. This is regarding Public Works. Can you tell me how many vacancies we have in Public Works?
Toya Martin, HR Director. No, I cannot off the top of my head, but I can get that to you.
Okay.
And get that to you by the end of the day.
Okay.
Okay?
Thank you.
You're welcome.
All right. Any other, Mr. Hartley?
Yes, I was just wanted, maybe the administration or Dr. Maury, or you can answer this question. Are we actively putting out notices to hire a public work director or a city engineer?
City engineer, we are, in terms of the Public Works Director, no.
Okay, so we're not looking for a public works director. Okay, thank you.
All right, thank you. Any other questions or comments? Hearing none, all in favor? Thank you. And let the record reflect that Mr. Griselle is here, and it was a unanimous vote. In person. I'd already said you were online. All right, he's really here. We see you.
In the flesh.
All right, item 15, we're putting in committee for additional, finance committee for additional study. Item 16,
Order authorizing professional service agreement with election system and software to provide the City of Jackson with technical support and related services during the 2025 municipal elections.
So moved.
Second.
we have a motion and a second on this item. Any questions or comments, colleagues? Hearing none, all in favor? It's unanimous. Thank you, colleagues. Item 17,
Order authorizing an agreement between the City of Jackson, Mississippi and the Hines Circuit Clerk for equipment rental for the 2025 municipal election.
So moved.
Second.
we have a motion and a second. Any comments or questions?
One comment.
Yes, sir, Mr. Stokes?
Madam President, the agreement was the city could use the equipment because we paid for it. We paid 70% of the county budget. And the old agreement was the city could use for any election at any time. But now, different people coming, and we begin to have to pay. So the city gonna start paying the county double, because if you start paying this one, we can look for other things, the jail and everything else that we're gonna have to start paying for. That the agreement is the city shouldn't have to pay because we're already paying 2 times.
Ms. Harris, would you like to explain this?
Angela Harris, Municipal Clerk. Councilman Stokes, this is agreement with just the circuit clerk. This one is zero charge. This is not for the utilize the voter machines. This is not that agreement.
Well, the reason, I'm glad you said that, because we had our own machines and boxes, and they advised us we didn't need that anymore. So I don't want to start going down that road where the county starts saying we're going to start charging the city, because it's going to get worse as you change supervisors and everything else. So, somewhere in there, that statement, put in there, no charge. Let's get it understood, there's no charge. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Stokes. Mr. Banks?
Yeah, just, Councilman Stokes, I guess my question, did we ever find that anywhere in writing? Do we know, is there any direction that can be given to city legal on where to find that agreement? Because I think it's important.
And I agree, and the thing is, our clerk's office is great and been great over the years, but they dropped the ball on some things. But the best thing about that is everybody's still alive. All the mayors from Harvey Johnson, everybody except maybe Frank and Lumumba, the rest of them are still alive. Council members, they alive. So, even though you might can't find it in writing because somebody misplaced it or didn't put it in the right place, we can take testimony, sworn testimony.
Would that clerk have been Brenda Pree? Or was that during Eddie Jean Carr?
Eddie Jean both of them were good, but it's not the clerk itself, it's the deputies that do things. And if the deputy will not do their thing properly, the clerk may not know. But we got these mayors still here, and we got these council members still here, so we can get it understood. We have to do it through testimony. We can confirm stuff, but we don't want to have to start paying the county 3 times. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other questions or comments on this item? Hearing none, all in favor? Vote of 7-0. Thank you, colleagues. All right, so, I'm sorry, that was item 18.
Order ratifying and authorizing the mayor to enter into a memorandum of understanding between the City of Jackson, Mississippi, the Jackson Public School District, JPS, the Hines County Board of Supervisors, and the Sheriff's Office to provide security in designated athletic and social events.
So moved.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any questions or comments? Hearing none, all in favor?
Sheriff, you got it up. Chief, you got it up. You might well say something.
7-0. Well, it's already off the floor. It's off the floor, sorry.
Oh, don't do that.
7-0.
Let him give us an update.
We were saved.
Oh, were you trying to get in here? All right.
Well, I wasn't, but Joseph Wade, Chief of Police, thank you for voting on that. We know that Jackson Public Schools are doing an amazing job, but they don't have the ability and the capacity to handle those large events like football games, basketball games, and even track. So I'm very excited about this partnership, and we also can recoup monies that we expend during these events. So thank you again.
Thank you for making us safe.
Yeah,
Thank
we
you.
appreciate all you do.
Everything.
We
Thank you so
appreciate all
much.
you do, Chief.
Thank you.
And thank you for rushing into the room. All right, Mr. Banks,
Yeah.
I'm going to allow it.
No, since you came, are we still having an ongoing conversation about implementing the school resource officer program?
Absolutely. So
Okay.
expect that MOU in the very near future. We're building that out right now with Jackson Public Schools. They're going to pay the entire cost for that police officer and all the overtimes associated with that police officer. So we're looking at assigning 6 to JPS.
All right, and then you're going to designate an officer friendly?
That all 6 would be officer friendly.
Okay.
All right?
There it is.
Thank y'all so
Great.
much.
Thank you, Chief. We
All right.
appreciate your being with us today. All right, item 19.
Order authorizing the mayor to execute a facility management agreement with Ace to Deuce Community Tennis Association for the management of the Dorothy Vest Tennis Center.
So moved. Second.
We have a motion and a second on this item. Any questions or comments? Hearing none, all in favor? It carries with a vote of 7-0. Item 20.
Order authorizing the mayor to execute an agreement with All About Animals, Inc. to provide the veterinary care and medicine to animals located at the Jackson Zoological Park for the sum of $2,700 per month for a period of 1 year beginning October 1, 2024, and ending September 30th, 2025.
So moved.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any questions or comments? Hearing none, all in favor? It's carried. It's unanimous. Item 21.
Order authorizing the mayor to execute an agreement between the City of Jackson, Mississippi and Big Monkey Train, Inc. for the use of a 24-inch gauge train at the Jackson Zoo located at 2918 West Capitol Street, Jackson, Mississippi.
So moved. Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any questions or comments?
Yes.
Yes, sir, Mr. Hartley.
Just Dr. Muhammad, if he could just present this item.
Yes, sir. Abram Muhammad, Parks and Rec.
Yeah, just go ahead and unpack it, what you're trying to do here.
Yes, sir. This is the train operation that most of you are aware of that we have at Livingston Park. This is to go into contractual agreement to continue to operate that motorized attraction that we have there. And it specifies that the cost we will split with the organization that we are going into contract with, as well as if there are any major repairs that needs to be taken care of, they themselves will take care of those repairs.
Okay, very good. When is it operational?
As soon as we get your 7 votes, hopefully, with this.
I mean, during the week?
Yes, sir.
When can folks expect to come out there and enjoy the train ride?
We can start as early as this weekend.
I'm sorry.
This weekend.
This weekend?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so it's only on weekends, or?
No,
is it
sir,
during the week?
it's every day that we're open. We have a train operator to operate the train.
Excellent, thank you.
Make sure you get a video of Councilman Hartley on that train.
I already got it. Hey, I love it, nature ride, I
I got
need
the
that.
top hat and everything ready
Yeah,
for you.
thank you,
Yes, sir.
I'd gladly wear
All
it,
right.
thank you.
Thank you. Any other questions on this item? Hearing none, all in favor? All right, carries unanimously. Thank you. Item 22.
Order ratifying and accepting bids of Sunrise Produce for a 12-month supply of fresh produce for the Jackson Zoo.
So moved.
Second.
Motion and second. Any questions or comments on this one? Hearing none, all in favor? It's unanimous. Thank you. Item 23.
Order authorizing the mayor to execute a memorandum of understanding with the Joy Spreaders, Inc. for the revitalization of High Street Park, 125 High Street, Jackson.
So moved.
Second. We have a motion and a second on this item. We had some discussion during work session on this item. Any additional questions or comments?
Madam President, if I may.
Yes, sir. Mr. Stokes?
Oh, I can let Dr.
I'm sorry.
I was just going to ask you to explain how it would work.
Yes, sir. If I may have these handouts to give for each of you that I received just this morning from the foundation. It outlines the vision in which we plan to institute some things there in the park, as well as opening up green spaces, cleaning out the green spaces, installation of new pickleball courts, just a complete visualization of what we plan to do with the park there in partnership with George Spreaders. So this outline here that you'll receive will give a detail of the investment that they're looking to put into and what we're doing as a partnership for this particular park. So we're extremely excited about it, seeing that it's right down the street here in the center of the Capitol for people can see, view, and possibly be even go to enjoy during their lunch hours, a walking trail, all of those things that will be taking place. So we're super excited about what we're getting ready to institute there. And this gives you a brief outline, once again, of the investment and the intention that we plan to put into it.
Thank you. This is, just for clarity, we did talk about this yesterday. The philanthropist behind this is Mr. John Miller.
If I can can you bring me those 2 copies?
And, I'm sorry.
I'm sorry, let's get 2 more copies. We need 2 more.
Okay. Mr. John Miller, and I'm really grateful to him for his devotion to this park. He's the owner of Johnny T's. This is really very close. It's right by Johnny T's. And they are investing in our community, and it will be a huge asset to the people who enjoy the Ferry Street area. All right, any other questions or comments about this item? Hearing none, all in favor? All right, thank you.
Thank you.
All right, then we're moving on to item 25.
Order authorizing the mayor to execute an amendment change order number 1 and related documents to the agreement with Henfield Construction Company, Inc. to complete the bus stop sign replacement of the Jackson Public Transportation System J-Train.
So moved.
We have a motion and a second on that item. Colleagues, any other questions or
Question.
comments? Yes, sir, Mr. Stokes.
Mr. Keaton, good job. We see the buses running. We back out to the strike and everything else. But we still need some seats. It's awful. See these older people, grandparents, and nowhere they trying to stay in, and some of them sitting on the, as I say, the dirt instead of the ground, and we really, really need some seats. I know you can think outside the box, maybe it's time to bring those seats back with the advertisement. I don't know what the answer is, but we need seats extremely bad.
Gotcha. I will yield to Christine West to talk about the technical elements of how they determine where they put seats, but we are definitely working on the advertising ordinance now that should be coming before you guys as soon as it comes out of legal. So that will be a revenue generating tool that we're trying to bring back. But Ms. Christine, if you'd like to speak to the seating arrangements for Councilman Stokes, please.
Thank you. Christine Welch, Transit Services. As we've done in the past with the new shelters that you see throughout the city, the process now is going back, doing it the correct way, making sure that it's ADA accessible and in easements or being if we're going on to anyone's private property, which means it's a little bit more complicated now in terms of placing benches and things of that nature because you have to make sure that they're ADA accessible. But once we get this advertising ordinance back to you all, and if it's approved, then we're trying to look at some out-of-the-box things, Councilman Stokes, in terms of getting vendors who may be interested in making sure that they place a bench that's ADA accessible to advertise on.
Any kind of time frame?
I've been working on it for quite some time, sir, a couple of years now, so hopefully, as Mr. Keegan said, hopefully we can get it to you all in the next 60 to 90 days.
Thank you.
All right, thank you. Any other questions or comments on that item, on this item? Hearing none, all in favor? It's unanimous. Thank you, colleagues. Item 26.
Order ratifying and authorizing the payment of $224.78 for the procurement of services from Jeffco Fence Company, Inc.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any questions or comments? Hearing none, all in favor? All right, we are moving, thank you, colleagues, it was a unanimous vote. We're moving now to item 27.
Order ratifying and authorizing payment of $236.13 for procurement of services from Taylor Power Systems, Inc.
So moved.
Second.
All right, we have a motion and a second on this item. Colleagues, any comments, questions? Hearing none, all in favor? It's unanimous, thank you. Item 28.
Order accepting the bid of Fifth International Group Corporation for a 24-month contract with an option to extend for an additional 12 months for chipping and grinding of vegetative debris located at the city rubbish facility, bid number 98846-110524.
So moved. Second.
All right, we have a motion and a second. Any questions, colleagues? Hearing none, all in favor? It's unanimous. Item 29.
Order authorizing payment of $25,089.75 to Benita Johnson as full and complete settlement of property damage claim and no admission of liability.
So moved.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any questions or comments, colleagues? Yes, sir, Mr. Stokes?
Drew Martin,
Okay.
City Attorney. This is essentially a sewer claim from before Jackson Water took over the sewer, and this was a sewer issue that the city became aware of and should have fixed, and that's the reason for the payout.
Yeah, I'm satisfied.
You're back, okay. All right, any other questions? Mr. Foote?
Thank you, Madam President. I got a question regarding, now that the sewer stuff has been put over into Jackson Water, if they have a sewer overflow, sometime, this year, does that come to the city or does that come to Jackson Water?
It should go to Jackson Water.
Is that right?
Yes, sir.
All right, anything else? Hearing none, all in favor? It's unanimous. Item 30.
Order reviewing and continue August 29, 2022, state of emergency.
So moved.
Second, just in a nutshell,
Sure.
which one is this?
Drew Martin, City Attorney. This is the one from all the rainfall and that led to the water issues starting in August 2022.
Thank you.
And we need to continue to review it every 30 days. We need to maintain this one until we know exactly what's going to happen with our water system, frankly, because we may need these powers depending on what the government and EPA do.
So this will be on the agenda every 30 days?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, all right. Any other questions? Hearing none, all in favor? All right, thank you, colleagues, it's unanimous. Item 31.
Order reviewing and continue state of emergency.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. In a nutshell, you want to tell us which one this is?
Madam President, I didn't put this one on here, and I'll have to check. I'm not sure off the top of my head. I'm looking right now.
It's drainage. I'm thinking this is the blood of the pearl. I believe.
2021.
Am I right?
Oh,
Yeah.
yes, that's right. I think that's right.
Okay, all right. Yes, Mr. Foote?
I'd just like to say that the state put up $2 million for help for repairing White Oak Creek, and we put up $440,000, and the project's moving along nicely. It hadn't completed. They got to wait through this rainy spell probably to go back to the duties, but it's, making some really good headway in improving the quality of life along White Oak Creek.
It's great. All right, any other questions or comments? Hearing none, all in favor? All right, it's unanimous. Now, colleagues, we're moving into discussion items. Mr. Banks, 32.
Madam President, this was placed on the agenda before Angela, Clerk Harris had the opportunity to go ahead and do everything that needed to be done to get it on agenda today, so there's no need for this.
All righty, that is great news. Mr. Foote, Hotel O.
Yeah, this is still people ask me about this all the time. It's such a huge eyesore for people that drive up and down I-55, and people are, frustrated because we voted for this back in, I guess it was October. The judge told us to tear it down back in the summer. Where do we stand on this? I know it's gone back and forth with DEQ. Can you provide any insight on this?
Yes, sir. Drew Martin, City Attorney. So I check on this almost every day, and planning is doing a great job of keeping us updated. If you recall last meeting, what we were lacking was certifications for our individuals from planning that they needed to be able to take the roof samples. They have that certification now. In fact, I have copies of them in front of me. That was paid for and voted on at the last claims docket. What's left is their license actually has to be sent now as their license renewal from MDEQ. That's been sent off as of yesterday or today. That should be the last remaining step before we can go get that sample, send it off for asbestos testing for the roof. Assuming that comes back well, they'll move forward at that point. All of this is waiting on getting that asbestos sampling finished.
Okay, can you tell, who's the contractor that's going to demolish it?
The contractor is Cornerstone. I don't have it in front of me. I'm sorry. It's either Benchmark or Cornerstone. I can't remember which one it is.
Okay.
I can get you that if you'd like it, though.
Okay.
I have that.
All right.
Thank you.
Mr. Hartley?
Yes.
Thank you, Madam President. Can you give me the status of the hotel over there off of
Yes, sir.
Interstate?
Yes, sir. So two
In my
updates.
area.
You asked about that at last meeting, two
And
updates on
that's
that.
the one on near Highway 80?
And Ellis.
Right, and Bobby Rush Boulevard.
Yes, sir.
Formerly known as Ellis.
I'm sorry, you're absolutely correct. I've seen it on the, anyway, the notices, we have to still say Ellis, I had that stuck in my head, you're right. So that's the one that's been demolished. The issue is it's a big pile of asbestos. For the most part, because of the rain and the weather and so forth, it's not a present hazard, but it will become one again. MDEQ has filed a lawsuit that we're monitoring. They just filed it recently against the owners. There's some issues because apparently the last known owners died. There's a trust issue. We have, by the way, today have taken them to environmental court, so they're in a proceeding this morning, and we'll be joining in that lawsuit shortly as well. But the point of it is to get it cleaned up. And so what we're asking our environmental court to do is to allow us to go clean it up. That'll be at our expense. We'll have to put a lien on it and pursue the owners for the recovery of the expense. But that's why we're going to join the lawsuit, is to seek to recoup any expense associated with the cleanup.
Okay, and a follow-up.
Yes, sir.
And we can work this offline.
Sure.
But right now, the state Select Committee on Jackson Revitalization, or Capital City Revitalization, is putting forth a lot of bills. Is there anything that would make your job easier that the state can do in crafting some type of law so the owner of these hotels don't leave a mess in their wake when they decide to just abandon them?
I got to give that some thought. That's a good question, and I will give that thought.
Yeah,
Yes, sir.
please, because again, they're pretty aggressive right
Sure.
now. If we need any
It's a good
law
time for it.
changes, now's
Yes.
now's a
Yes,
good time. Thank you.
All right, thank you. Any other comments on this item? All right, item 14, Mr. Stokes, the Old Negro Fairgrounds.
Thank you, Madam President.
34, sorry.
Some refer to it as Fair Park, some refer to it as Emmett Till Park. But the problem we're running into is not keeping good records. The city of Jackson purchased that park many, many years ago. We can show through a bond issue that all the equipment that's owned at that park is equipment that the city of Jackson put at that park through a bond issue. We all know that we cannot put city equipment on private property. The church is claiming that they still had the deed to that property, and they're in the process of getting ready to sell it. Now, the auditor and everybody else gonna look at us and start seeing how can the city of Jackson, with separation of state and church, put city funds at a park that we didn't own. We need to get ready for that because it's going to come down the line. They researched it before. They said they can't find the paperwork. Again, everybody's still alive. We need to talk to everybody because this is a serious issue. We can find the bond issue where they put the park's equipment on that property. Now, when they sell it, I know people say, well, you can take our equipment back, but look at all over the years that it's been there. So could you research and let's find out whether or not if we have to start talking to them about paying again. You know, that's what happened with the Convention Center Hotel property. But we need to have that property.
Yes, sir. I'm going to have somebody reach out to you to get a little more information about that. But yes, sir, we'll look into it.
Okay, thank you.
Mr. Stokes, do you remember which bond issue that was? Was it back, do
About
you
the-
remember who the mayor was?
I want to think it was Harvey.
I
Harvey
think
Johnson.
that's right. Okay.
Do you have an address to the place?
It's going to be at Plymouth Heights and Meg Evans Boulevard.
Thank you. Thank you. Anything else, Mr. Stokes, on that
No,
item?
well, legal, if they help us, we can get to the bottom of it.
Yeah, that's good. Thank you. All right, the next item is yours as well, Mr. Stokes. Discussion on marijuana dispensaries.
Madam President, there are some concerns throughout this city about how safe these dispensaries are in terms of the break-in that happened in Northeast Jackson and the concerns that the citizens have about whether or not you're going to have inside jobs on this. People talked when they first decided they were going to have these kind of places. There was going to be break-ins and some other dope going to be walking out the back door. We understand in the poor neighborhoods that when they use marijuana, they're going to use that embalming fluid, and they call it wet, and it have people out of their mind. It's more than just marijuana for medical purposes. We need to have Chief and others to give us a plan of action, like Councilman Hartley was doing with the nightclub on Lynch. If these places say somebody breaking in them, maybe we need to look at closing them down, because you cannot allow all this weed to be out here in these streets in Jackson, Mississippi. If they do not have the proper security, then we need to shut them down. But we need to check on these dope places like we do pawn shops. We need to make sure ain't nothing funny going on with these dope places. I want to make sure I had it on the agenda. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Stokes. All right, Mr. Hartley, you are next. Collection of limb piles on streets.
Yes, ma'am. I drive through my communities and my ward. I'm seeing a significant amount of limbs being placed on the streets, and I want to just to ask the administration or solid waste if they could just answer a few questions concerning the status. Namely, what's the status of our trucks out there picking up limb piles? What is our ability? I know we just got it on the agenda approved today for a contract for chipping and grinding. But I just wanted some conversation over this. And another question is, what's the ability of the communities if some of my neighborhoods want to do get a pile together, collect it, and then will the city be able to help with that? So, Ms. Weathers.
Lakeisha Weathers, Public Works. So we have been advising the residents of the limb compliance measurements. What we are asking them to do to ensure that those small limbs are cut 4 feet in length and stacked in small piles no higher than 3 feet at their curb. We have been in discussion with Richards Disposal and asking that they ensure that they're collecting those limbs on the second collection day. Now, anything larger than that, Councilman Hartley, if residents are having contractors to come out and cut those up, then we are absolutely advising them that it is their contractor's responsibility to remove those items. Outside of that, we will have roll-off dumpster day that will be back on the second Saturday of February. Residents can bring those limbs to roll-off dumpster day.
Mr. Banks?
Yes. Thank you, Madam President. In lieu of this, and not so much about the limbs on the residential side, but more so about the limbs and that are now on the streets. This council gave out authorization authority to go out and do assessment to hanging limbs, trees that are a threat or that could be a threat of falling when there is inclement weather, cold weather, etc. And I don't know if that assessment has happened, because now when you go down Lake Shore, Forest Hill Road, when you go down these streets, those limbs are now obstructing traffic. Even down small streets like TV Road, they are now obstructing traffic, and people are having to, and what happens is citizens get the limbs and stuff and just push them to the side of the road, and you might have some hangover, and as cars are passing, it still is obstructing traffic. Is there a timeline to where we can go, and again, because I'm sure this up and down weather is not over, so is there a timeline where we can go and get some real assessment in these areas of threats to address those limbs that can obstruct traffic, especially after a storm?
Yeah, thank you for that question. Louis Rice, CAO. We're still working on that assessment, and just as soon as we get it completed, we can put together a timeline in terms of cleaning those areas up. And this is a good time to be doing that since we don't have the growth during the summer and spring months. We can really see where those limbs are and get that area cleaned up. We'll be coming back to you with a more definite timeline.
Thank you.
Madam President?
Mr. Hartley and then Mr. Stokes.
Yeah, I just wanted to follow up on, what is our capabilities right now for as trucks? I know we got boom haulers, we got new ones in. Do we have the capability of going through a neighborhood and picking up limbs? And I appreciate you giving us, some options. So cut it up or drop it off the roll-off dumpster day. But is there a capability of the city to go down and pick up limbs in the community? Or would you support a neighborhood that got together and said, hey, we're going to bring it to a central location. Can the city pick it up from there? Again, it goes towards aesthetics, it goes towards safety, as Councilman Banks mentioned. And I just wonder, is there any other options? How are our trucks right now?
The new truck that you mentioned is.
Sorry, can you speak up, please?
The new truck that you referenced is still at the garage waiting for the tag. It was approved on the last council. They're waiting for it to be picked up and placed on the truck before we can put it out on the streets. The old boom truck is still getting repaired, so currently we do not have a gravel truck in operation.
Thank you. Mr. Stokes?
Thank you. Ms. Weathersby, do we currently go through your office, well, let me say it this way. Look like all cleanup, well, it's Keep Jackson Beautiful, Planning Department, should come through your office. And I'm saying that because we have community groups, as Councilman Hartley is saying, they out cleaning up. They leave the trash out there and it's out there forever. And then the dogs tear it up and everything else. But when they go through your office, the next day it's picked up, or the next day after that it's picked up.
Yes,
So it seems like they either not talking through your office, or they not in your office or something.
There are some groups out there that will do cleanups, and then they will contact us after the fact.
After
The
the fact.
process is for them to go online. There is a boom form online. Whether you do it through Keep Jackson Beautiful's website or the city's website, it comes directly to my department. What we then do is contact the organizer, and we schedule a meetup so we can decide where those debris are to be placed. And we either pick it up the day of the cleanup or we pick it up the following Monday. But yes, sir, all of that should be coming through our office so we can coordinate the pickup.
Not after the fact.
No, sir, because oftentimes they place stuff out sometimes that we cannot pick up. And then they place them in areas that can create traffic hazards
Yeah.
or in places where they can be hit, the bags are burst open, or dogs can get them.
Yeah.
Depending on where the cleanups are, we prefer to be out there the day of. Sometimes they cannot happen, but most of the time we prefer to be there the day of. But the proper process is to go through our department in the planning process so we can be there to assist.
Well, we thank you for Martin Luther King. The cleanup was spectacular.
It was.
Trees moved and, and everything else.
Yes, sir.
It really make a big difference. But I noticed it like around Maple, down from into somebody cleans up, but it's just bags still.
There are, and we're going through Maple Street because there are some tires back there that we need to address. So that is on our radar. Yes, sir.
Well, right there at the railroad track.
Yes,
when
sir.
it was closed, people dumped a bunch of
Dumped a
tires.
bunch of stuff. It's a
on
pile of
premise.
tires back there. It's about 400 to 500 tires back
Yeah,
there.
I saw.
Yes, sir.
Thank you, Madam
welcome.
President.
Thank you, Mr. Stokes. Mr. Hartley, would you like to wrap up this item?
Yes. In a lot of my communities, I have senior folks. I have folks who have limited ability to cut up stuff. They may not have a truck or anything. I'm asking this, the administrator, I'm asking you, Mr. Wright, what do this council body need to do in order to find the money or whatever to make this thing work? right now, again, some of these options are really not good for a lot of folks out there, especially the seniors. And in order to make their neighborhood cleaner, you'll need more trucks or whatever. Right now, to hear that we don't even have a grapple truck cleaning up our open dumps, cleaning up, with the ability to pick up limbs, that's not good. So I'm asking you, what does this body need to provide to you in the way of funding to make this thing better?
Let me, Louis Rice, CAO, let me get with solid waste and infrastructure and all of those other departments to find out what will be necessary to expedite the things that you're asking us to do. As you heard Ms. Weathers mention, that we do have a new truck that we're getting fitted. We've got to expedite that process to get
Yes.
the tag and inspection and all of
And
those
the
things done
decals.
so that we can put it in service. We do have another one that is in the shop. We just need to find out how soon can we get that truck repaired so that we can get it in service as well. So let us collectively come together to see what we need to do before we make any recommendations back to you in terms of any funding.
Thank you, sir.
All right, thank you, Mr. Hartley. So the next item is discussion, review, and continuation of COVID-19 local emergency. Legal, do we know why this has to continue to be on the agenda very often, or Ms. Jordan, do you know?
I'll have to check on this one.
Okay. All right, it's on here all the time, so. Number 38 is legal matters. Mr. Martin.
I will have one for executive session, but I have a couple of non-executive session updates that I want to provide real quickly. One, Councilman Stokes mentioned it earlier, but the Dynamic Lounge lawsuit is ongoing. That lounge has been shut down temporarily. There's a full hearing scheduled for February 4th where we'll be asking for a permanent injunction to keep it closed. So just wanted to update you on that.
Appreciate your help on that.
Yes, sir. Just this morning, we got a notice. I'm sure you've noticed that Donald Trump's issuing a lot of executive orders. One of them is relevant to us as a city. As of this morning, the administration has ordered a halt to all environmental litigation and transferred many of the lawyers in the Environmental Division for the Department of Justice. That includes our efforts on a consent decree. All talks are paused. Everything is stayed for some indefinite period of time. So I just wanted everybody to be aware of that. There's not much we can do about it.
What is going to happen next if that happens?
You're going to have to ask President Trump.
No, I meant in the city of Jackson.
Well, so the short answer is what we expect and hope is that whatever pauses occur will be lifted in fairly short order and we'll keep moving on. If it drags on longer than that, honestly, I don't have a good answer for you yet. Because along with that, we've got these orders that are announcing various federal freezes of distributing funding and grants and so forth. We're not sure, without specifications as to what that affects. We don't know yet. It's sort of a day-by-day right now as we monitor it. But I did want people to be aware of it. And then the other one's for executive session.
All right, let's go ahead and wrap up everything else on the agenda before we go into executive session. Item 39, monthly financial reports as required according to Section 213513 of the Mississippi Code annotated of 1972. I saw mine, I got it. Did everybody else in the council? Okay, show of hands. All right, good. Any announcements, colleagues?
Yes.
Okay, Mr. Stokes.
Thank you so much. Could we close the meeting in honor of Mr. Charles Cochran, outstanding businessman in the city of Jackson, son-in-law to former Mayor Charles Evers, Mr. Henry Lee Brinson, Mr. James Cornelius, Mr. Ben Williams, and Mr. Robert Earl Logan.
All right, any other council members have anything? All right, Dr. Omari?
Thank you. The City of Jackson would like to thank all citizens and businesses of Jackson and neighboring cities who assisted in donating food, snacks, and other necessary items for our shelter residents. A special thank you to Shower Power, Luke Wooten Ministries, Red Cross, JPD, Care Maintenance, and Parks and Recreation for your efforts in making this a successful operation. March of the Mayors. The City of Jackson is gearing up again to support Extra Table in the March of the Mayors food collection efforts. Each city in the Metro Jackson area is assigned a specific food item to collect. The City of Jackson is collecting 16-ounce jars of peanut butter again. Please drop your donations off at City Hall, any police precinct, any fire station, corner market, grocery store, grocery depot, Kroger in Jackson and Byram. We have a box out in the foyer. We've won this competition for as long as I've been here, and that's like 7 years. So we want to keep that winning streak going. So we thank everyone for participating and dropping off the peanut butter.
Thank you, Dr. Marty. Colleagues, anything else? All right, I will take a motion to go into closed session for the purposes of discussing going into actual executive session to discuss legal matters.
Second.
We have a motion and a second on that item. All in favor? All right, we have a vote of 6-0. Mr. Stokes has left the meeting. We are now in closed session. If you are not relevant to this legal matter that we must discuss, I'm going to ask that you please leave. Colleagues, we are out of executive session, and to the public, while we were in executive session, no official action was taken. Is there anything else to come before this body at this time? Hearing none, this meeting is adjourned. Thank you.